In the previous lesson, I intimated that there was something else that you could do, not just an individual user, but multiple users at the same time. And because I like to tease like that, now is the outcome. So if we go back down to this, and this is going to be in the resources as well, this is about Google Workspace admins. And if you're going to run multiple users, and unfortunately with GYB, got your back, it doesn't have the ability to say all users like GAM does. But what it does is we actually either can make a bat file in Windows or a multiple file that, but let me show you what I do, because this makes sense to me and it works very nicely for what we're doing and also is nice and clear. So if you go and look through this, there's obviously ways of using this using your GAM setup with your OAuth 2 JSON file, and you can actually play around with this. And you can go through all of this and you can look at the API scopes. But basically, what we can do is when we run the backup, we can use this service account. And now because I've set up GAM and because I've set up GYB as well properly, this service account has now been set up, which means I can use this so I don't actually have to play around with individual users. So in the previous lesson, all we had to do was we said this, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to add it, okay? We're going to add this little thing over here that says -- service account after it. This, push enter and see if it works. But we're not going to do that. We're actually going to cancel that because I'm actually in the wrong folder. Okay, so if I go into C drive / and I go CD and GYB work and I say dir. Okay, so there's my previous backup. So now if I copy this over here, see that? Paste it in, push enter. This should work using the same folder that was previously backed up. So it's going to go and look inside this and it's going to say, does this have anything for me to actually back up? Okay, it says it's got 2 new messages and it's backed those 2 messages up. So if I go and look in that, it will obviously have those 2 new messages. So now you see that my service account basically works. So now what I'd like to do is actually get an entire list of everyone in my company. So I'm going to run this command. And this obviously works with GAM and GAM ADV X203. So if you don't have that, please look at the previous section. This is GAM all users print Gmail profile to drive. Basically what that's going to do is it's going to say everyone who's got a Gmail profile or a mailbox, send that to my drive as a spreadsheet. So right now I've only got 11 people and obviously that's going to generate it for me. So basically what you have got here is you've got a list of every single person in your company, in your Google Workspace domain, that's with their email address, their ID, how many messages, how many threads in total. But this kind of says how big their mailboxes are. And this is what we use to make this thing. So if you were going to run a normal backup command, this is what it would look like. It would say GYB -- email admin and taming G Suite -- action backup. What we're going to do now is we are going to add this little part over here called service backup to this thing. So instead of action backup, we're going to say -- service account. What I want to do is actually create this script. So you can either use this in a bat file or you can just copy and paste it. So let's actually do this. I'm going to say equals to make a formula. I'm going to say quotation and then say GYB space -- email space close quotation, because that's going to take the formula literally. Then we're going to use an @ sign, which is a concatenation. So it's basically going to say concatenate what? And we're going to say, well, chuck in this email address for me. So now you can see above here that's going to go GYB -- email space, because we've got a space over there, the email address. Then we're going to say and close quotation, put another space, and then it says the last bit. So we're going to say -- action space backup space -- service account, and then close those quotations and push enter. And that's going to basically see here. It's going to have suggest, going to go perfect. So it's going to go GYB, here it is, backup and service account. So if I grab this whole thing and copy this and go into this, I can right click, it's going to say paste anyway, I'm going to say fine. It then pastes the first line, which is brilliant because you can actually paste this in, or you can run a bat file, or on Linux or Mac, you can run any other kind of bat file. And what it does is it runs line by line. So it says the first one, and we're going to be running this backup. So it should be able to be Perfect. And then it pushes enter on it for itself, and it does the second one. So now we're looking at Dwight, and we haven't downloaded Dwight before, so it's going to have to see how many emails are in Dwight's mailbox, and then it's going to have to create a folder, GYB Gmail backup dash Dwight at Taming G Suite, and it goes on to the third one, Jim, and it does exactly the same thing, each of them, except the last one will actually not have an enter sign because it actually isn't a enter at the end of Stanley, so you might have to just push enter once. Or if you make this into a bat file or some sort of like scheduled cron job or something like that in Linux or Mac, then life should be good. Basically, that's how you back up your entire company. There's no real thinking involved. You can just run it and you can back up your entire company locally to a server, to an external hard drive, to a network share, whatever you want to do very, very quickly, and it's all good. The next lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to restore stuff. And then in the final lesson, we're going to restore stuff to a group. Follow for more. See, that was another tease. It was another tease.